technologies. Thank you all again for attending. Um, so as many of you already know, cyber threats are on the rise for many corporations as malicious agents look to seek monetary gains and disrupt business. And a large reason why many of these attacks occur is because organizations lack cybersecurity protocols and have a failure to implement technical safeguards, leading to huge loss of money, business disruption. And one of the leading industries to be targeted is the construction industry. So just a little bit about Compulink. Compulink is an MBE certified firm. We provide award-winning IT services, multi-brand IT solutions to businesses, government, education, and healthcare customers throughout the United States. And we carry a large variety of products and services that range from hardware, software, to IT integrated solutions as cloud, cybersecurity, hybrid infrastructure, and staff augmentation. So like I was going back to cyber threats, construction industry is actually one of the most targeted by hackers. For years, the industry was immune to many of these attacks because hackers were not really targeting it as much. But now that the construction industry has adopted more digital transformation solutions, it's left a lot of their digital solutions with vulnerabilities to these threats. And this has left construction companies as a hot target for hackers, as well as a lack of industry and privacy initiatives. Today, the construction industry is actually the third most targeted by hackers. And today we're going to go into some cybersecurity solutions from Cisco that will safely protect against these threats so that businesses are safe from the growing threats. And with that, I'm going to lead into Kevin.
Thanks a lot, Liam. And with me just a moment, I'll get my screen shared.
You want me to stop sharing?
I think I just stole from you.
Okay, cool.
Okay, you should see a full screen now coming through. Does that look good to you?
We're at Cisco SASE solution, I see.
Perfect. Okay, so my name is Kevin Switzer. I am a technology consultant with Cisco Systems, and been working with them for about 14 years. And it was about 8 years ago when Cisco decided, hey, we're going all in when it comes to security. Prior to that, we had some firewall offerings and a couple of things, but it wasn't a great story. But once Cisco started acquiring SourceFire, CloudLock, amongst many other companies, it's become quite a robust and thorough solution. So about 8 years ago is when I took over a full focused security role with Cisco. And today we're here to talk about Cisco SASE solution, understanding there's a big focus here on construction work and all the different ways that attackers have been going after that industry. And also the additional challenge of, hey, it's not like you build a building, you move into it, and we can set up our network and we have time to refine it. In this industry of construction, you're moving place to place, and as the projects move on, we're connecting new devices, different devices, taking those things off, and we got to find a way to make sure every point on these systems is secure. So the goal of SASE, I'll get to the big definition of what SASE is, but with Cisco, we are really trying to drive the revolution. And this has really turned into a major revolution since the beginning of COVID. It was, we would say, the digitization, IoT, that type of thing, but this really has turned into a revolution of securing access to everyone from anywhere. And that's what the goal of Cisco's Secure Access Service Edge, or SASE, is. And just a little bit of background here, there should be no surprise. Historic traffic flows. Years ago, we did see that about 80% of all traffic across the network was internal within an office, and only about 20% was external. This is going back a ways, obviously, but now we're seeing at least an increase to 80% of that is now internet traffic, with the advent of so many remote workers as well as so many different cloud application solutions. Now, this isn't, the SASE is not just a Cisco thing. This was actually developed by a different group, security focused, and Gartner really coined it and defined it to really put this in its place. So the Gartner definition of SASE is the Secure Access Service Edge is an emerging offering combining comprehensive WAN capabilities with comprehensive network security functions such as secure web gateway, CASB functionality, firewall as a service, and zero trust network access to support the dynamic secure access needs of digital enterprises. So that is the general definition. And Gartner also defines the primary SASE functions as SD-WAN, or software-defined WAN, cloud access security broker, secure web gateway, firewall as a service, as well as zero trust. So with Cisco, our approach to this is, our goal is to connect all resources to the headquarters, as well as all cloud resources that connect to each other, regardless of what type of device, where the user is, and things like that. We need to be able to control connections so that they can be secure, and we will verify that identities through a zero trust method and also threat protection. And the end result is to have a converged experience so that everything connects seamlessly and at good speed and providing a good user experience. And I've seen some surveys done about the top things that the users do not like and will give up on, is if they have poor audio or video quality on some type of web meeting, or issues authenticating to some type of cloud resource. So those are the experiences we're trying to avoid, and we want to be able to deliver the best application experience. And once we approve all of these things, it really will make the business much more agile and fluid. Now, the main components, and this breaks into two main categories. That's going to be one on the SD-WAN side, and that's going to be powered by a solution called Meraki. And Meraki is a route, switch, firewall, and can even be wireless, built into all one box, fully cloud managed with the SD-WAN features built directly into it. And what makes this solution super convenient, through the purchase process, licenses and serial numbers are matched up. So when you receive your equipment, you simply connect it to the internet, and it finds your cloud portal, which will be set up and provided to you, and you just log in, and you can instantly see everything and begin setting it up, which is also pretty easy. And of course, remote access also falls under this category, so we can provide that through AnyConnect VPN, secure encryption, and also Duo, which is our zero trust multi-factor authentication solution. And the big piece is obviously going to be cloud security. So we're going to achieve this through a solution called Umbrella, which I'll go into here in a minute, which includes the functions of secure web gateway, cloud firewall, DNS security, as well as your cloud access security broker. And also falling under this category is going to be the zero trust network access provided by Duo. Now, the primary use cases under Cisco SASE is going to be secure remote worker and secure edge. So with the secure remote worker, and of course, always prevalent in the construction industry because site-to-site, things like that, it's providing users with safe access to the internet, as well as any applications from any location as well. And the challenge we deal with here, or challenges, is it is hard to protect roaming users without impacting that good and seamless user experience. And we all know that if given the options, users will often bypass the VPN because in a lot of cases, if the WAN speed is not good, it does slow things down. So we know that that's not a 100% guarantee unless it is absolutely forced on the device. And without the proper solution and tools in place, it can be very difficult to identify the identity of the users and also the health of the particular devices. And inconsistent enforcement of security protection, depending on if they're a guest network, if they're a contractor, if they're really a company employee, and things like that. And also keeping up with the evolving threats and acceleration of distributed work. So we all know that the hackers are finding new ways to attack, so we have to keep up with that. It can be hard to identify and address gaps in protection consistently, as things are constantly changing and need to be updated. Needing better visibility into threats and access to rich threat intelligence, which we will talk about here more in a bit. Require stronger integrations across the security stack in order to reduce response times. So the way we're going to achieve this with Cisco securing the remote worker, we start out with Cisco Umbrella, which is DNS security, and we'll get more into the details in just a bit of Umbrella. And then also with Duo, this is for multi-factor authentication. This will also cover device health, behavior analytics, and clientless remote access. The other piece being the secure edge, and this is where the SD-WAN piece comes into play. And I heard this stat, and I would say this is even higher, in my opinion, of that 60% of organizations expect majority of applications to now be SaaS. In my experiences, I'd say it's probably closer to 80%, but really depends on the industry. And it is the challenges, multi-vendor cloud deployments, that can be extremely complex and have poor connectivity or connectivity issues, lacking of the simplified management without capabilities of automation, which is something we definitely want to be able to do. Avoiding inconsistent and poor user application experience. We need to maximize that for the user to not hold up their actual job capabilities. Lack of user visibility across multi-cloud environment. And also there is just a ton of choices when it comes to SaaS applications, and we want to be able to stay flexible with that. And securing traffic from any user to any location. People are moving around, they're working from different places. We need to deliver secure access as close to that user as possible without impacting the user experience. So we want to be able to protect users and their devices and applications from the ongoing updating cyber threats. We want to have a quick and seamless authentication process for everyone and policies that follow that user wherever they are going to keep everything secure. And under the secure edge portion of this is where we add in the Meraki and the SD-WAN portion. So like I said, this is a fully cloud managed solution, provides really rich features, analytics and automation. Middle mile efficiency, this is basically, okay, we have this implemented for the early months. Now, where do we go to the next point? It's extremely easy to modify these policies. Keeping up with application service level agreements, optimizing the SaaS experience. And to get a little bit more into the actual solutions themselves. So we talk about Cisco Duo. So first of all, this is the adaptive MFA type of solution. Typically, the way this is going to work, it's going to be a push from the cloud management screen down to each in particular user. Please install this application on your device. And usually, it's a simple setting or choice of how you want to authenticate. If you have a smart device, you're simply able to, upon request of access. On my device, I get a big red button that says, no, I did not ask for this access, or yes, I did ask for this access. Press the green button, and my phone has a face scanner on it or a thumbprint. It's going to utilize, the biometrics. But if you wanted to do it a different way, sure, you can do, text messaging authentication. You can do it by a phone call if that works better for you. And of course, any type of smart token, so it can integrate with other manufacturers that make those, or also Duo does offer those on their own. When we talk about device posture and health, and I'll go more to that in just a minute here, but that's going to check the device, make sure certain things are up to par, that should be up to par on the device, that would allow it to not be a threat to the network before we grant access. And least privileged access. So this is where we could go deep into all of these steps and lessons when it comes to setting up a zero trust network. So our basic idea here is trust no one and verify everything. So not only do we want to do a really good check on, okay, is this person who they say they are? Okay, good. But we also want to make sure, okay, this person has X role with this company, and these particular in-house or cloud resources or data are relevant to this person's job role. So yes, they are allowed to access those things, but anything that is not relative to their job, we're going to block access to that data, those applications, et cetera. And also, we're going to perform behavior analytics and continuous verification. So let's say, in an example, somebody was able to get a hold of my device before I had a chance to find out and report it and have it locked down. Let's say through my behavior analytics, I've always logged in from, for example, the United States or these certain countries, but then all of a sudden somebody is trying to log in from a different country. Or let's say I don't typically work between the hours of 8 p.m. and 7 a.m. I've never logged in during that time. So it's going to monitor those types of things. And depending on your policies and how you set them up and how alarming the behavior is, oddly, so then we can say, okay, send an alert to IT security, have them do a double check when they have a moment, or if it's a big red flag, we can actually, in cases, completely block access if we wish to do that. And then also, all of the products that we are talking about today also tie into what Cisco calls SecureX. So this is an integrated security orchestration platform. It is entirely cloud-based, and also this is not an additional solution that you would purchase. Whenever you buy a Cisco secure solution, you're automatically going to have access to this additional dashboard. And I could easily spend another hour talking about that, but just to kind of give you a basic idea of what Cisco SecureX is, it's going to take feeds of information, telemetry data from any other Cisco secure solution you have running, as well as third party as well. And last I checked, they were up to about 150 pre-programmed APIs to tie into other vendors' solutions so that you can see all the telemetry as well as threat information directly on that screen. It also provides capabilities of threat hunting. Within, if there's a threat that comes in on one, you're able to find out if anything else, any other solution, Cisco third party, has seen it, be able to trace how it began, where it's contacted, where it's gone since it came in, and be able to dial down to patient zero to come up with a full remediation plan. And also there is threat intelligence available directly in there, which will come from the back-end threat research team at Cisco called Talus, which we'll go over here more in a couple of minutes. But all of those things are included in SecureX, and SecureX is included at no cost with any other Cisco secure solution. And to dive a little bit deeper into the device posture and health capabilities within Cisco Duo, what this is going to do upon a request of access, it's going to check for certain things like, is the device running up-to-date software? Is the device encrypted? Do we have it a passcode turned on? Is screen lock enforced? Firewall enabled? Is the biometric turned off? Is the device managed? Or is it bring your own device? So we want to double check all these things. And again, we have a lot of freedom here of how we want to enforce these policies. So for example, if it's a Mac OS, it's up to date, great. But let's say, for example, a device or an update just came out the previous week, and they have not updated that device yet. We can say, just for example, yes, you may log in this time, but you have 48 more hours, and then you must have that OS updated. Otherwise, we will then begin to block your access and things like that. And another way we do continuous verification is through another Cisco secure solution called Secure Endpoint. This is the anti-malware, antivirus solution, things like that. It's an application that lives right on the device. It's going to be watching for files coming in that may or may not contain malware, things like that. Now, if you happen to run that on the device, Duo can speak to it and say, okay, hey, you are attempting to connect to the system or an application, and Duo says, hey, Cisco Secure Endpoint, I see you running here. Have you detected any malware recently, it can say, yes, I have detected malware. In that case, we're going to block the device and put into what we call device isolation, which will not allow it to connect to anything except the secure endpoint dashboard, so that the admin can go in there, remove the malware before it's connected to the systems. And of course, if secure endpoint says, nope, I haven't seen any malware, okay, we're good to allow access to the systems. The other big piece, Cisco Umbrella, and this is our DNS and SIG solution. And this was originally a company called Open DNS that Cisco acquired some years ago, and has brought it on, renamed it Cisco Umbrella, and has really built many more and robust features into it than originally was intended. So we're going to be able to do DNS layer security with Umbrella, as well as the secure web gateway, cloud delivered firewall, CASB functionality, interactive threat intelligence. All these types of things are going to fall under this system. And again, also ties into SecureX. So Cisco runs its own Umbrella DNS servers. So simply repoint DNS requests to their servers. Their backend team polices the DNS requests and the phone book, and will block anything it deems malicious. It's extremely easy to deploy. Simply, however you are doing DNS, just point it to their two IP addresses for DNS. We have the ability to block domains associated with malware and phishing, command and control callbacks, and this is automatically handled on the back end. Stop threats at this earliest point. If we can stop at the DNS request, we're way ahead of the schedule and not allowing anything in. And under the Secure Web Gateway, this is kind of the next tier when it comes to the feature set of Cisco Umbrella. We can also do things like malware scanning. And here it says Secure Endpoint. I apologize, I should have updated that. It is now secure, or it is Secure Endpoint, formerly known as AMP. You can do things like file type controls, SSL decryption. We can filter specifically by URL categories. And from there, we can do whitelist, blacklist, things like that. We can actually do sandboxing of files through our secure malware analytics, app visibility, granular controls. For example, if you wanted to allow Facebook, but block Facebook messaging or Facebook games, you have that granular control capability. That's just an example. And also when it comes to reporting for URL level of reporting. And when we come to our top tier of Umbrella, we call it SIG or Secure Internet Gateway. This is what it's going to be, provide our cloud delivered firewall. One thing to note is that it does require IPsec tunnel from the device up to the Umbrella cloud. So you need to make sure internet speeds are up to check. We do have the ability to do a full layer 7 firewall with application visibility and control. And of course, all centrally managed, and we have the abilities to secure full web gateway ports 80 through 443. And as I mentioned, there's this back-end threat research team at Cisco called Talos. And for once, we don't have an acronym here. This is actually the Greek god of protection. So Cisco decided to name its threat research team after that. And this team is actually fairly impressive. They're considered the largest threat research team that is non-governmental. There are over 400 full-time threat researchers and data scientists strategically located in 8 different offices across the world, so that there is always at least 2 offices up and running at all times. And they get a view on just a tremendous amount of data when it comes to the internet, reputation requests, malware samples, IPs and URLs that come in. And the way this operates is for every single Cisco secure solution operating live out there, whenever it blocks a threat or sees the threat or finds a new threat, it is feeding this information back to Cisco Talos and say, hey, this malware we've known about, it was an attempt, it was blocked, taken care of, no problem. And also when they do a sandbox and say, hey, we found something new that is actually malicious, it's going to send a copy of that to Cisco Talos. And those data scientists are going to pick that apart. They're going to find a way to block it, and they're going to push down, update reputations and fixes down to every single device that is up and running. So pretty quick capabilities of response times. And every vendor out there that does security has a team like this. It is the secret sauce to any company and what makes their solutions actually secure and better. And the fact that Cisco's is the absolute largest out there speaks volumes to Cisco's dedication and investments in this area. And the last point I want to mention to you before I turn it back over, for anything that we've mentioned, and I get this was a very quick snippet into some pretty complex things. Of course, we have the ability to set up meetings with you, talk more, we can demonstrate it, proof of concept for you, whatever it may be. And then also for these different solutions, Cisco does offer some free trial periods for these. So anywhere from 10 days to 30 days, depending on the product, we can set it up for you to actually try out at no cost. Just reach out to Liam and we'll get that set up for you. Do we have any questions before I give up the screen?
And containers fundamentally make this happen. Really, they're becoming the de facto standard if they have not become the de facto standard for cloud native. By packaging your application using containers that allow you to easily move these across various compute locations and using the power of Kubernetes as the orchestrator to manage all of this, it really enables the platform now that you can interconnect and run these microservices as a broader application level and move those around. And open source, which is the foundation of Kubernetes and many other components that enable this infrastructure, open source really has fundamentally enabled the speed to which we're able to not only build these applications, but also deploy. So talking a bit more about open source in the cloud, really, I would argue that the cloud as we know it today would never exist would it not be for the concept of open source. And it plays such a critical role today and will continue to in the future.
Are we picking up on a side conversation, or is that a long question? I guess we're picking up on a lengthy side conversation. Liam, did you want to say anything more about yourselves to close us out?
If we look at open source, almost 80% of businesses utilize.
Yeah, so sorry about that. Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you all for attending today. Sorry about that. Just want to go back to the end here. Thank you all for attending today. As I mentioned earlier, Compulink Technologies is a reseller of Cisco solutions, and we offer free consultations. So if you have any questions about the solutions that were presented today, please reach out to us at our sales@compu-link.com email address, or visit our website and you can fill out a form for a free consultation. And I also know that there were 5 gift cards that we were giving away to our first 5 registrants. So I will be following up with those individuals after this and reaching out to those that attended the entire duration. But other than that, I really appreciate everyone's time, and thank you all for attending.